So today, we're going to break down the core argument from a piece of writing called The Ordinary Paradox. It puts forward let's just say a pretty provocative communication tactic for relationships. Let's get right into what it is and how it's supposed to work. So, to kick things off, the source paints this really vivid picture. It asks you to imagine you're the last one at a party. Everyone's gone home, they've all paired off, and you're just left there. It's an analogy, right? And it's meant to capture a very specific kind of loneliness, the kind you can actually feel even when you're supposed to be with someone. And this feeling, this last man at the party vibe, that's the whole starting point here. The source uses this idea to describe a unique kind of loneliness that some men might feel, not because they're single, but from right inside their own relationships.
So what does that really mean? Well, when you boil it all down, the problem being described is this feeling that you've lost your say in things. As the slide says, it's the feeling of being an extra in her movie. You get the sense that the relationship is a story she's directing, and you've just been handed a small supporting role.
Okay, so if that's the problem, what's the solution? This is where it gets interesting. The source introduces something it calls the verbal nuclear code. And yeah, that name is about as intense as it sounds. It describes a tactic that's designed to completely flip the power dynamic on its head.
And get this, the entire strategy, the whole thing, apparently boils down to just one single word. The source claims this one word has the power to instantly shatter that extra inner movie feeling. So, what on earth could it be?
Okay, before I tell you the word, here's the formal definition from the source. The verbal nuclear code isn't just some random word. It's picked for a very specific reason, to challenge a partner's view of themselves as being totally unique or special. Its entire job is to break that frame.
And the word is ordinary.
Yep, the whole tactic is to just, casually inform your partner that she is in fact ordinary, just like everyone else.
I know what you're thinking. How on earth could that possibly work? Well, this next part dives into the psychology that the source claims is behind it all. It's all about shattering a very particular illusion.
So this slide really breaks down the conflict that this whole tactic is aimed at. On the one side, you've got what the source calls her self-perception, this idea that she's special, the exception to the rule. But then on the other side, you have the so-called reality that this tactic is supposed to introduce, that she is just like every other woman. According to the source, the real power of this move happens in the gap between those two ideas.
And here's the playbook, laid out step by step according to the source. Step 1. It all starts with the assumption that she's following a predictable script of insecurities in games. Step 2. That's the confrontation, where you drop the ordinary bomb. And this leads right to step 3, the big finale. Her self-perception of being special is shattered.
So what's the end game with all this? The source actually frames the outcome not as some kind of attack, but more like an act of reflection, like you're simply holding up a mirror.
And this is the transformation it's supposed to create. The whole point is to shift your own role in the relationship. You go from feeling like that extra to becoming someone with more say, recasting the scene, so to speak.
And this quote from the source really just sums up the whole argument. You are no longer an extra in her movie. You are holding up a mirror that breaks her self-perception. That's the core claim right there. The idea is you get your agency back by changing her view of herself, from being this one-of-a-kind exception to being part of a predictable pattern.
And that really brings us to the big question at the heart of all this, doesn't it? The source presents this tactic as a mirror, a tool for just showing things as they are. But you could also easily see it as a weapon, right? Something designed to intentionally undermine a person's self-esteem. As always, we're just here to break down the source material, and we leave it to you to think about the implications.